Do it, guys, to stretch their game out and get them to improve.
Gradey's got 23. That's a career best for him. 23 points for Gradey Dick.
The Raptors were clobbered by the Knicks at home, losing by 44 points, their worst home loss in franchise history. OG Anunoby and Precious Achiuwa returned, and while only one played, both received tribute videos for their time spent in Toronto. But the story from this game was that Ochai Agbaji fell very badly on his hip in the first quarter and was down for quite some time before going to the locker room. Agbaji was ruled out for the rest of the game with a hip contusion.
Definitely, I'm learning a lot. This whole year, I'm learning a lot. Just the different situations that we are facing, night in and night out. You know, we did not plan for Ochai to get injured in the first quarter, and it's just like how to continue staying competitive in those games is the most important thing for me, and finding ways to improve. I thought that Gradey tonight, that he had some really good moments out there for us, but it has to go to another level. And it's always like asking for more, and always asking for better execution and better focus and all of that. So it's with a big change of players night in and night out. It's not making it easier, but it's the moment that we're in. We gotta see the big picture and really focus on developing pieces and plant seeds that are gonna give us great fruits in the future.
Hopefully it's nothing too serious for Agbaji, who, as you might have heard in my previous recap, had been starting to stack up good games together and finding his role. That being said, it wasn't all bad for the Raptors, as Gradey Dick poured in a career-high 23 points in the loss, doing a little bit of everything as a scorer.
I mean, humbly, I think it's just more of as more time goes by, I get more comfortable with it. It's just kind of me showing what I can do with it. But obviously, I'm more interested in just how I can use it to help the team in any way, not only just scoring. Get on the floor, all the kind of the dirty work, stuff like that. Whatever I can do, I just want to try to bring in, whatever that, like I said, the team needs at that point. It's fun to kind of show everyone that kind of more facets of my game that probably people don't really see when they look at me.
Now, tonight's loss marked the 50th loss of the season for the Raptors. It's the first time since the 2010-2011 season they've lost 50-plus games, and just their 7th time in franchise history. Their 12-game losing streak is now tied for the 3rd worst in franchise history, but the good news is there are only 9 games left in the season. Now, for the film room tonight, I'm going to break down Gradey's game, but I'm also going to give love to one of my favorite players to watch in the league, Jalen Brunson. Gradey Dick's shooting ability opens up so much for him as a scorer, and it's because of his ability to come off of screens, shoot in movement, shoot over top of defenders, and it makes him so much harder to guard, especially once he starts adding layers to his offensive package. He's already mastered the corner shot, and now he's exploring the above the break three, and it's great because he's also able to get into these shots when he puts the ball on the floor. Here he is coming off of 2 pin downs, 1 pound dribble, and settles into a mid-range jump shot. A little bit later in the game, he runs a pick and roll with Kelly Olynyk, and he sees Hartenstein, playing drop, and so he dribbles into a pull-up jumper. He's able to make these shots not only off of the catch, but now he's developing a better touch off the bounce. And you couple that with his ability off the ball to be a great cutter. Just has a great knack for diving into space. You see him here relocate as soon as he passes the ball off and finishes in traffic. And when you stack all of these skills together, when you add the shooting ability, the off-ball movement, the ability to, use your dribble, you make a very potent offensive player and a really hard player to guard. So here, Donte DiVincenzo runs him off of the line because he's scared of that three-point threat. Gradey uses it, puts the ball on the floor, settles into a floater. That was created because DiVincenzo didn't want Gradey to shoot the ball. And so Gradey was able to put the ball on the floor, use that ability that he developed, the pull up, the ability to make plays for others, to put the ball on the floor in order to get that floater. And when you put it all together right here, once again, Deuce McBride runs him off of the line. Gradey puts the ball on the floor, goes all the way, and is able to finish through contact and gets the layup. And so once you start thinking of these different things together, it's really important to understand how these are stackable skills. It's something I talk about all the time, but Like, it's hard to explain all the time to just throw out the word, oh, it's a stackable skill. But let's just talk about it like this, right? Gradey's three-point shooting is his swing skill. People talk about swing skill, but what does a swing skill really mean? The fact that his shooting is so potent that it makes teams worried about that. And so constantly, whether it be off of screens, whether it be off of the catch, whether him pulling up into it, teams are going to start to send two to the ball, especially off of pin downs. And now that creates extra attention. With that extra attention, he's able to put the ball on the floor, which he's clearly shown he has a good skill at doing. Another stackable skill, by the way, putting the ball on the floor and making decisions. And so with that other layer, he's able to put the ball on the floor. He has that 6'9" frame that he can finish around the basket. And he's shown a propensity to be able to finish around the basket as well. And so that three-point shooting opens up the finishing ability, opens up the driving ability, and then later on, it should open up the playmaking ability. We've already seen that, to be honest with you. There have been games so far this season where his playmaking has really shined, and it's because people are afraid of threes. He keeps running off of the line. He keeps driving to the basket. Teams converge. He makes plays. And that's a really hard player to guard. And so it all starts with a stack of skills. You have to have certain things that you're able to do first in order to do all of that. But you're just looking at a player that's just going to be, in my opinion, a really, really good offensive player. Like, he's just going to be an awesome, awesome offensive player. And like, in a team context, by the way, folks, if you're wondering, I know I don't have a beard. I had to shave for something. So just ignore that for a second. I'll get to that after I do all this film room stuff. But if you're wondering, yes, I had to shave. For Gradey, looking at it from a team context, once guys like Scotty Barnes and IQ and RJ are back with the team next season, you can see how this could be such a potent threat for them to use, not only as a screener on the ball, but off of the ball, moving around in space in this Darko system that, you know, he's creating with off-ball cutting. He's the perfect type of player. And so that's what makes Gradey so intriguing. Kudos to him for actualizing all of that. It's not enough to just have the skill and to have the talent, but the fact that he's applying it in these games, regardless of the result, regardless of the 40-point loss and whatnot, it's really important to see. The next step next season will be to do it in games that matter, right? To do it in games that, hey, you're supposed to win. You're punching in for 25 minutes a night. You're maybe coming off the bench, or maybe you're starting, depending on how the context of the team looks like next year. Hey, we need you to do this on a team that is trying to win basketball games. Right now, the Raptors aren't. Next year, the step is, hey, do this on a team that's trying to win. And so that's a fun exercise to have. That's something I'm looking forward to next year with Gradey. Okay, folks, please let me indulge in one of my favorite players in the league, and that is Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson does an excellent job of leveraging his incredible scoring ability to create plays for others. His mid-range game and his ability to post up and use his pivot foot to create separation and draw fouls is some of the best in the league. He is absolutely potent in the mid-range area. He's able to get to whatever spot he wants to, settle into mid-range shots and floaters. And on top of that, he makes it incredibly hard to guard by also shooting 40% on threes and making pull-ups at an alarming rate this season. His post-up game is some of the best from any guard in the league. He can just barrel his way to the basket and use his size. I know, not necessarily the tallest guy, but he's a strong dude, and so he can use his size in the post to bully his way into shots. And so this helps create shots for his teammates. It helps create easy looks for his teammates. I know people don't necessarily say that Jalen Brunson is the best passer in the league or the best playmaker, but I tend to disagree. I'm not saying he's the best in the world, but I think his playmaking is underrated because he leverages that scoring to eventually create plays for others. And that's because, you know, LeBron James recently on his podcast said that the name of the game with basketball is to put two on the ball, is to draw so much attention that two players have to guard you at once. And Jalen Brunson does that with his scoring. And so that opens up the rest of these Knicks players. Here in the pick and roll, with Isaiah Hartenstein, he sends two to the ball. Both Kelly Olynyk and Ochai Agbaji are there. Ochai is late on the switch. And so Hartenstein, beautiful dump off by Brunson. He finishes in the lane. Exact same thing here. Kelly Olynyk hedges, but Brunson is just quick enough to evade the hedge. And Gradey is too slow to really get back there. And so once again, Brunson drives the ball. Beautiful wraparound pass to Deuce McBride, who has been on fire as of late, and he knocks down the corner three. If you look at this play right here, the pick and roll, once again, this is a great example. Two to the ball, there's a hedge, and so Brunson beats that hedge by just doing the dump off pass inside to Hartenstein. Wide open lane for Hartenstein, and he gets the dunk. And his great driving ability is also something that is really potent, so he uses that to create a shot for Deuce McBride once again. And so people will say that Jalen Brunson isn't necessarily the best playmaker in the league or the best passer and whatnot, or he's not as good of a passer or playmaker as you'd want him to be. I kind of disagree with that notion. I think your scoring ability is just as important to being a playmaker as your actual playmaking and passing ability. If you can't score the ball, you won't be deemed a threat, and therefore you won't seek the attention needed in order to make the passes and plays you need to. And Jalen Brunson absolutely thrives in that department. It's something that I've watched Kyle Lowry do for over a decade when he was with the Toronto Raptors. He used his scoring ability. He used his wits, his strength inside, his ability to finish, his ability to pull up at the basket to create plays for others. And I see Jalen Brunson doing that. And that's why he is one of my favorite players to watch in the league. Just an incredible scoring guard, using that pivot foot, using his just sheer size. It's crazy to say size because he's not the tallest guy in the world, but just his strength to be able to create for his own shot and for others. And that's why, man, I loved watching Jalen Brunson hoop. That's all I got for y'all. That is all I have. And, before we wrap up this film room, this recap, really, really tough to watch Ochai like that. It stuck with me the entire game. I was like, how am I going to keep watching this game after what happened to Ochai? And, obviously I hope it's nothing too serious. I really do, because he fell down pretty hard on that hip. And you really just hope it's nothing too serious, because this Raptors team has clearly gone through a lot this year, injury wise and personnel wise. And just to add something like that on top of that, it's just too much, man. This is a season from hell in a lot of ways, and the Raptors have had to endure a lot. They've had to endure a lot, and it's really, really tough. And so I hope Ochai is all right. Hopefully we'll get an update in the next couple of days, and it's a good update, because boy, the Raptors could sure use a good update. 9 games left in the season, folks. Really looking forward to that essentially being over at this point, because we're talking about lottery odds. We're talking about free agency. That's what it's starting to become for this Raptors team. And I'm sort of excited to watch the playoffs, to be honest with you. These other NBA teams are really making things exciting. The Houston Rockets, Oklahoma City. I'm watching Denver versus Phoenix right here on the other side. And so I'm just excited to watch good basketball and playoff basketball. And that should be a lot of fun. Yes, I shaved. I had to be an Italian mobster for something that I was filming today. I know it's ridiculous. You're like, what the hell is going on here? I do some acting on the side. You can probably see from the little background here. I don't do all of the acting I do here. But yeah, I had to shave. So for the next week or so, I'm filming for the next week. So for the next week or so, you're going to see this guy on his screen, folks. So thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. Subscribe to the Raptors Republic YouTube channel if you guys can. Do the things you guys usually do to support Raptors Republic, as always. And I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for everything. And thank you if you're still watching and listening to this thing. It's really, really appreciated. We'll see you guys later. Take care.